Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Majesty, transformational coach here at Inner Mileage, where we help folks heal, optimize, and transform their lives to their best lives right here, right now. Today we're going to be talking about the battle for the spirit and the soul. So the battle between empaths and narcissists for the soul and the spirit. This battle that's beyond reality. Because there is a war most people do not see, and a battle that's raged since time immemorial. It's not fought with swords or weapons, nor does it occur in the physical realm alone, although it does. It's a war for energy, for essence, a war for the soul and spirit, recognizing that in some traditions like the Buddhist cosmology, there isn't a recognition of the soul, because there's no permanent self. But having said that, if you're an empath, you have been conscripted into this war, whether you realize it or not. Because the moment you came into this world radiating light, darkness took notice. You heard me. But why? And why do narcissists seek out empaths? Why is there this unseen battle between those who carry light and those who live in darkness or in the shadows? To answer this, we must first separate what has been confused for centuries, the difference between the soul and the spirit, with the caveat that I gave from the Buddhist perspective. So, when thinking about the spirit and the soul, many people use spirit and soul interchangeably, but it's not correct. They're not the same. And this misunderstanding is precisely how the war is lost before it's fought. The soul is the seat of identity and experience. Just for the sake of this video, for those who subscribe to the Theravada perspective, we know that there is anatta, no permanent self, right? But the soul is your personal essence, your unique energetic signature that carries all your experiences and emotions and memories, although conditioned, but from this perspective. It is malleable, shaped by your thoughts, your traumas, your joys, and your sufferings. That's your conditioned self. It also exists across lifetimes, evolving through karmic cycles and lessons. And particularly from a Jungian perspective, attributed to Carl Jung, this soul can be, understood as the unconscious self, the sum of all that you have been, or the ignorant self, if you're looking at it from the Buddhist perspective, right? Because there's no self in that sense. And in Gnostic traditions, the soul is the prisoner of the material world seeking freedom. Now, coming to the spirit, that's something different. The spirit, unlike the soul, belongs to the divine, not you alone. It's a fragment of the divine, the breath of the source of life itself. It is eternal and untouchable. It's pure consciousness. It cannot be wounded, stolen, or erased. And where the soul feels, experiences, the spirit simply is. And for example, in Christian theology, the spirit is that which returns to God. In Buddhism, it is the aspect of you that is already enlightened. So in a way, you could say the soul is the ego, whereas the spirit is the heart, if you like that analogy. So ultimately, the soul is personal, the spirit is cosmic. And this difference is crucial in understanding why narcissists do what they do. So why do narcissists target empaths? What is the narcissist's hunger here? A narcissist is a being who's become disconnected from their soul, or those conditioned experiences. It's been fragmented and buried beneath the ego of shame and self-deception. And because of this, they cannot access their own divine spirit, but they can still sense it in others, and it enrages them. This is really important. So why do narcissists target empaths? Empaths radiate what narcissists lack, an unbreakable connection to spirit. And they see in you what they have lost, which is authenticity, depth, and divine energy. And recognize that the narcissists are parasitic. They do not create, they steal. And they extract energy from others rather than cultivating their own. And this is why the narcissists love bomb. This is why they gaslight and manipulate. Because you're not a person to them. You are not a person to the narcissist. You are a source of energy, the kind of energy that helps them to be and self-regulate. So how do narcissists steal the soul and block the spirit? They first do that by breaking your soul. They attack your self-worth, your sense of reality. They confuse you, control you, and weaken you, because a fractured soul is easier to control. Then they also block the spirit through emotional starvation and psychological warfare. They create doubt, despair, and then that despair creates detachment from the divine in you, which disconnects you from the divine in all sources. And we know that this is nothing new. It's more prevalent today because of the unveiling of realities attributed to the shutdown in 2020, because ancient cultures already knew about this war. The shamans called it soul stealing. The Gnostics spoke of archons, beings that manipulate the mind and harvest energy. And the Bible warns of wolves in sheep's clothing. And modern psychology calls it narcissistic abuse. It's different names, same war. You see the game? So let's go into some multi-dimensional proof of everything I've said so far. And we're going to look at psychology, trauma, and soul fragmentation from Sigmund Freud, and Carl Jung's perspective. Freud described narcissism as a defense mechanism against deep inner wounds. Jung took it further, describing narcissists as spiritually disconnected, trapped in the illusion of their own ego. And in trauma theory, research shows that victims of long-term narcissistic abuse suffer from dissociation, identity loss, and emotional fragmentation, all characteristics of what ancient cultures called soul loss, you see. Then you think about spiritual war and soul theft from a theological perspective. The Gnostic texts, or the Gnostic Gospels more specifically, describe forces that manipulate human consciousness through deception, similar to narcissistic tactics. In Christian cosmology, the Bible warns against entities that come to steal, kill, and destroy. Is this not exactly what narcissists do? That's what they do. And in shamanic wisdom, indigenous healers across cultures describe soul retrieval, which is the process of reclaiming fragmented energy after trauma. And we also know from a quantum science perspective, there is the notion of the observer effect and energy drain. And the observer effect specifically shows, from a quantum perspective, suggests that observation affects reality. Narcissists distort your perception, effectively hacking your experience of reality. This is really key. In science, for example, studies show that energy can be transferred, drained, and absorbed, and exactly what victims report feeling after narcissistic encounters. So, how do you win this battle? This is not a fight to fist, it's a fight to frequency. And you do not win by fighting the narcissist, you win by transcending them. Let me say it again. You do not win by fighting a narcissist, you win by transcending them. And so let's go through some other steps that can help you in this perennial battle against the dark side. Firstly, it's important to reclaim your soul. Heal your wounds through inner work, working with a coach like myself, and if I can be of help, type transform the comment section, or with some other qualified, licensed, or certified mental health practitioner, therapists, and so forth. Engage in soul retrieval through meditation and ancestral healing, which is to understand what's happened to you and reprogram that. And ultimately, you also want to build and strengthen your spirit by establishing a strong connection to the source within you, whether it's through prayer or meditation or some other ritual. Because remember, your spirit cannot be taken, it can only be obscured, and it's obscured by the programs and conditions that are projected to your soul, or your egoic self, if you may. And then once you see this, you master the game, because once you see the pattern, you cannot be controlled by it, because knowledge is your greatest weapon. So you must study, learn, and awaken. This is very, very important things to say. So the narcissist can't control you because there's no one like you. If you enjoy this, remember to like, share, subscribe, and keep healing and ascending. See you next time. Peace.